What's up, guys? Elfis here, and today we're going to be doing another HoN replay analysis, this time of Dan Swift over here on the Legion team, playing Dark Lady. I don't remember what his other teammates are. As usual, Tatty Jangles is joining me.
Hello again, from my parents' house this time, so if my internet cuts out, sorry about that.
We'll make the best of it. I do just briefly want to say, sorry we haven't been getting to him. Last week was kind of weird for me. I had to change my work schedule around because of tests and stuff. I know there's a little bit of a line now. Don't worry, we're going to get back into it. We are going to jump right in, though. It's a fairly short game, but we are going to jump in. You ready?
Yeah, man.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so first of all, quick thing to note that this is a little bit higher of a quote-unquote skill game than we're used to playing. If you notice, there's a fair amount of 1600s and high 15s on both teams, so it's just about a 1600 flat level game. Let's quickly just check. Okay, so it looks like Teal does not play carries frequently. His two of his most played are carries, but not the best. So
well, Armadon is
debatable. Yeah. I guess I always think of him more as like a tanky kind of initiator to an extent. But yeah, I guess technically you can build him as a carry too. But so first of all, I do want to note that the Legion team wins this fairly unanimously, based on GPMs and kills and stuff like that. It's pretty one-sided to an extent. But again, we've said in the past, you can always improve even on games when you do great. And that applies to everybody in every situation. So let's see, Hellbourne team, we have Artesia, Gemini picked real quick. I just want to, since there's not much to talk about this second, I don't like Gemini. I really don't like that hero. And it's not because it's a bad hero to an extent, but because it's so hard to use. It's very anti-noob friendly.
Yeah, well, my friend Starkey, who you might have seen on the forums, he plays Gemini literally all the time. Hang on, he's online. Let me just look at his stats. He's got some his percentage of Gemini played is ridiculous. And if you really practice the hero, you can get really good with it, and it is quite a good solo queue hero. But yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty weak hero, to be honest. He has 31% Gemini with 2,000 matches.
Holy crap! Gemini, what? How's that even possible? He would have been playing a whole bunch of games before Gemini even came out.
He loves Gemini, man.
I don't know. Okay, so I just want to say I don't like Gemini, but I just don't like him because he takes a lot of skill to use, not because he's a really terrible hero. But we have Gemini, so it's okay. So first of all, let's quickly go over the teams. Legion team, we got Witch Slayer, Monkey King, Demented Shaman, Dark Lady, and Cthulhu Font. So it looks like we're going to be laning Cthulhu Font.
Yeah, Cthulhu Font, D-Shaman lane, classic. Yeah. It's what I think we're going to see. Monkey King mid, and then Witch Slayer, Dark Lady. I'd prefer to see a different support than Witch Slayer, but generally I like the lanes.
Just so in case anybody who doesn't know, Witch Slayer is for the most part, a hated babysitter because his stun is incredibly short duration. It doesn't do a significantly large amount of damage. Early on in the game, when you actually need the babysitter around, he can't really babysit as well as, Andromeda or Demented Shaman or heroes like that. That's the reasoning why most people don't like seeing Witch Slayer as a babysitter. They like seeing him as a solo.
Very squishy with low attack damage.
Yeah, that too. But, I mean, for the most part in general, let's see, what do we got for DS? DS has even less health. Does he have more attack damage, though? Just about the same. In general, supports are usually really squishy. But, I mean, I'm not a support expert. Maybe he is a bit more squishy.
He is. He actually has the lowest starting EHP in the game. With no items.
We also have no ward on Witch Slayer. That's disappointing. Okay.
No, Disham's got... Oh, he's only got one.
Oh, he upgraded Courier. Okay, so we have Courier.
I guess we should upgrade the Courier. We should have 2 wards, though. We really should have 2 wards.
Let's see. We're going to defend the pole. Perfect. While we're defending the pole, just so you guys know, you can never... Well, I don't want to say never. You can rarely stop the pole from being warded. The point is to delay it to the point where you can at least get the 30-second spawn, and preferably the minute stack, too. But
it depends. If you've got a far superior harass lineup or with a lot more damaging skills, then you can quite easily defend it indefinitely. I mean, for example, if you've got a Luna and then another stunner, then there's no way that they get into that pool because you just put out so much damage. Just a general note for support players: this is not really related to the player that we're watching. But if you're going short lane, you get Courier, and if you're going long lane, you get both.
Yeah. And just briefly, I want to mention the Hellbourne's team before we jump into it. That was a waste of a stun by Master of Arms. But So Gemini, Master of Arms, Panda, Solomon, and Artesia. So that's a really weird team in the sense they don't really have very good initiation. Because they don't really have anybody who gets a PK. I guess you could get a PK on Solomon, but it would be a little weird since he doesn't have any stuns. You say on Panda?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but it's not really a standard item that you want on Panda. But and on top of that, not that they have too many carries, but because I mean, you can play Master of Arms as a support, but it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a weird lineup. It's not really super wrong, just weird. Also, Witchlayer, you're kind of sitting way too passive, man. Just something I'm noticing. Way too passive. You need to be harassing to keep them off Dark Lady. I mean, Master of Arms is just literally auto-attacking her, and you're, like, sitting back, like, kind of AFK. I'm not sure.
Master Panda's an incredibly strong lane, though.
It is,
really
but what I will say is Master of Arms has literally just been throwing his mana away. He's used 2 level 1 stuns so far.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already at half mana. That's kind of stupid. Doesn't really make sense. I mean, the harass is pretty low. Oh, Witchlayer, careful, buddy. Careful, buddy. Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're dead. Yeah. Yeah, where's our Dark Lady W? Did Dark Lady use W on one of them at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
Alright, that's fine. I mean, just for future reference, you want to use it after they use their stuns, probably, but it's okay, I guess. It's not a huge deal. So laning, your lanes are fine for the Legion team, totally fine, your composition's fine.
I'm falling behind you again here.
Are
What
you? I'm at 555 and I just paused.
Okay, go.
Okay, so I don't know why that happens, we really need to figure that out. Very good job. So if Witchlayer had actually stunned there, you might have been able to kill Master of Arms. Of course, you used the stun on Panda instead, but that's fine. Nice slow, that would be where you use Charging Strikes. No. Okay, way delayed use of Charging Strikes. I play Dark Lady. I know you were within range to use Charging Strikes, so at least for the first seconds when you hit that slow. So just something to think about. Creep score wise, we're falling a bit behind where we need to be. That's okay though. We can pick it back up. It's not too big of a deal. What do we have for gold? 787. Okay, so I imagine we're going for a health tube first. That's totally fine, especially against this lane. Because, you know, any lane where you're actually taking any harass damage, you usually go health tube first. If you're playing in a lane where you're getting a lot of, you know, aggression towards them, like if your babysitter is against like 2 melees and he's just beating the crap out of them, then you can go boots first if you want. But in general, health tube first is usually the go-to. Master of Arms is missing. No, he's back now. He bought a health potion. He actually bought 2. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Panda, no shield. That's a bit odd. Okay. So we have enough for a W. I hope we're going to... No, he's dead. He's so dead. Yeah. Good choice not to waste the mana on it. Wouldn't have done anything. I don't know if you made that decision or actually just weren't paying attention, but either way, it worked out fine. Let's see. Top lane. Demented Shaman dying? No. Okay. Alright, so let's see. Wards for the Legion team. This is why you get 2 wards, because we have a ward for the pole up top, but now we have no rune ward for your solo mid, and he's having to guess. Thankfully he guessed correctly this time, actually, but
yeah.
Usually you don't want to leave it up to guess, because people totally underestimate the fact that losing runes can lose you mid so easily it's not even funny, even if you're winning before that, so just something to think about. I mean, that's not really your job, Dan Swift, you know, playing Dark Lady, you shouldn't be buying wards, but just players in general, you usually want, that's the reason you want 2 wards at the start. We have health tube completed, fine. That was actually a decently timed health tube. It wasn't great by any means, you know. A good timed health tube, you can usually get it by like 2 minutes even, 2.5, I think, if I remember correctly. Something along those lines. 3 at the latest is usually a good timed tube. Any later than that, you're getting into the like okay timed area. We do go for a rune cleaver in this game. That's totally fine. The other option, you need the sustainer on Dark Lady. You really need it for the farming and the regen and things like that. But the other option you could do is you could have gone Nullstone if you wanted. And in this game, that's totally okay. A lot of the time, the hard carries that build rune cleavers, you know, as their quote-unquote core items, you'll see them pick one or the other, either Nullstone or rune cleaver, because you don't need that much regen, so you don't want to get both. But
sometimes.
I mean, it's rare that you really would get both of them. Usually, if you get the rune cleaver, that means you're going shrunken, as opposed to Nullstone.
It depends. There are situations in which you would do it, but it depends.
Yeah, but it's rare. So you're actually last hitting pretty good, all things considered. Oh, we're gonna miss that. Okay, so nice job, you use your W. I was actually just going to comment on that. Very good job. So the point you get... okay, well, first of all, you're maxing your W first, which...
That's terrible.
People do that. I see so many people do it because the slow duration gets lengthened. It goes, up 1 second per level, but that's not what you want, okay? You want
the Q.
Yeah, you want
Always.
the Q because, first of all, the base damage is awesome. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Everybody loves the base damage. But then on top of that, the silence and the duration of the base damage increases with each level by 1 second as well. So the silence is much better than the slow in any situation ever, okay? But just in general, for the most part, carries are not meant to crowd control people. Usually it's the support's job to do that, and the carry dishes out the damage. So just, no, I'm not saying don't ever get any crowd control, but just as a general go-to, if you have to choose between one or the other, usually it's the damage. Oh, here we go. So kind of a misplay there. You guys didn't really coordinate that as well as you could have. You stacked your W on top of Witch Slayer's miniaturized. It's not a huge mistake. I mean, you got the kill regardless, but just in general. We have our boots now. What do we sit at? 22 CK. That's not enough, man. We're at 7 minutes. We want 5 per minute at minimum, okay? So, I mean, just keep in mind there's 8 that walk down the lane every minute, okay? So, 4 every 30 seconds. So, 5 means you're doing decently to an extent that you're farming, okay? We're behind that right now, so we kind of need to pick it up. I do notice, though, at the end of the game, your CK is actually decent, so I'm assuming once we get the Rune Cleaver, we start to use the ability of the Rune Cleaver and take off a bit. That's fine. Let's see. But, so yeah, so you want to... Usually your W is actually probably the last thing you max. Sometimes you can max it second. It depends a bit situational, but usually the charging...
What's this guy doing? He's screwed.
Oh, God. Don't... Yeah, yo, now W. Now, well, not anymore. Now W, Panda, W, Panda? No? Okay. Well, it probably wouldn't have saved him anyways, but, I mean, you should have attempted.
Might as well have tried,
yeah. Yeah, there's, I mean, there are times when you make the decision not to just because you know it's not going to save him, and that's fine, but if there's even, like, a 10% chance he's going to get away because of it, it's worth the cost of the, what is it, 100 mana or something? 40, even less than that, sorry. 40 mana, that's nothing. Go, feel free to use that as an attempt to save him. Also, we have no rune here, or no ward here bot. If Gemini was intelligent, he could have come and ganked you, but... and you actually probably would have died, too. So, just something to think about. Again, not totally your fault, but also you need to be careful. If that Panda gets an ult off on you, you are done. Very done. Oh, yeah, you're dead. Oh! Oh, the flick. Oh, if Panda had kept chasing. That's interesting. I for a second there, I was curious, and apparently the charging strikes does not disjoint. I had forgotten.
No, it
Every
doesn't.
now and then I forget which skills do and which skills don't. It's kind of hard to remember them all. Just in general, though, it's usually a safe assumption that skills where you're traveling, you're moving, as opposed to teleporting, blinking, usually the ones that travel do not disjoint, just as a, kind of go-to generalization, but just something to think about. Let's see, Monkey King.
Not always the case, though, you
Yeah, not always, but if you had to make an
Cronus.
assumption, I'd say that's a fair assumption. But yes, there are cases where it doesn't. Oh, please don't. Ooh. Monkey King. Balls to the wall. Panda ult, this is where... Oh, you don't have any mana. I was going to say a Dark Lady ult would be phenomenal here, but we do not have that. So, I mean, it comes down to wards. You guys didn't have wards, so you didn't see Artesia coming. If Artesia wasn't there, you guys probably could have turned that pretty easily.
Also, which they didn't react.
Yeah, the reaction was a bit low. And, I mean, if you had mana, it also would have been a bit easier, too. But on top of that, by the way, Monkey King's reaction time was pretty low, too. If he had, as soon as he had seen Artesia, if he had queued and then queued again to get away, he would have lived. I mean, it was a little bit poor reaction from everybody. And then not having wards didn't help either. So, just something to think about. In this game, in particular, I hope... Well, in this game, because we have an Artesia and Master of Arms, too, but mostly the Artesia, and I guess Solomon does a little bit, too. I hope we're going to see Mystic Vestments picked up for you. Not necessarily everyone in the team needs it. I would say Monkey King can probably skip it, and Cthulhuphon can probably skip it, because they have a lot of mobility and tankiness, respectively. Of course, not both, but, I mean, oh, the gank again. And Artesia's here again. Thank you. One vault? Yeah, and she's dead. Okay. But we don't have any mana. This is a little bit unfortunate. If we can get a nice... Yes, there we go. Okay, so we're going to get 2. Very good job. Let Panda go. You're not going to waste your time on him. Okay, so... I mean, Mystic Vestments is probably a worthwhile investment for you. If you don't get it, though, it's okay. I can see some reasoning as to not getting it, too. But Artesia does, especially with her ultimate, she does put out a lot of magic damage.
I'd like to see that in addition to Abyssal as well.
He does get an Abyssal this game. He gets it. I'm not sure the order he gets it. His final items are Shrunken Head, Rune Cleaver, and Abyssal, and he has Ghost Marchers as his boots of choice, which are fine. I usually get Ghost Marchers on Dark Lady anyways. Occasionally I'll get Steam Boots if I need more stats, like more tankiness or something like that, but in general it's okay. Panda went Boots first. Okay, looks like Panda's going Nullstone, I guess, maybe?
That's what I would get.
Yeah, I'd probably get it too. Oh, you're dead. If Panda has ult? No, Panda didn't have mana after he flipped.
Oh,
poor.
We know he doesn't die. Cheers, Roy. Thanks.
Poor calculations.
As it says at the end of the game, doesn't it?
Alrighty.
5-0, I think.
Your mic is like glitching out there, buddy.
Is it?
Yeah. There you go. It's back to normal now. We're all
Okay.
good. Alright.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's 796. Okay. So, yeah, don't bother with the courier for one piece of your boots, unless it's the boots part, if you need them, because boots are the one thing you can do, but just in general. Okay, we have Witch Slayer here. This should be a kill. Witch Slayer stun. Witch Slayer stun. Okay, miniaturize first. That's fine. Witch Slayer stun. Okay. And the bullet. Nice, nice. The bullet was actually necessary that time, so keep that in mind, people watching who are like, oh, Witch Slayer took the kill. If he didn't use the bullet, he would have gotten away, so just something to think about. Another thing is, just because a support gets a kill does not mean it's a bad thing. You shouldn't kill steal, but a support getting kills is fine. You can, the carry still gets plenty of gold from the kill, as well as the time that he can now free farm because of nobody in his lane. Oh, missing last hits there. That was sad. So don't worry about it if you are, but, you know, again, we've mentioned it, you don't try and steal the kills, just...
Thank you. I will say, there's something that really irks me, is this opinion that if you're playing support, then you're not... You're supposed to try and every single time to leave the kills for the carry, and it's more important that someone gets it than the carry gets it.
Yeah, and another thing that people don't realize, yeah, okay, so maybe the carry gets his items a little bit sooner, but a support with items is amazing. I can't tell you how many times I've won a game because my support played so well. It's not because I've carried phenomenally or anything. It's because my support did his job amazingly and was there to back me up when I needed it and help out the team.
Thanks,
when
man.
I needed it. And yeah, I mean, if you watch any of the games, we've only posted one of them, but you know, there have been games where Taddy Jangles has been. He usually supports me when we play. Not always. Every now and then we swap it up, but for the most part, he'll support me and I'll carry. And there's been a number of times where he's been there to help me out. Oh God, no wards still. See, this is starting to bother me because now we're getting up to the point, and I know I just totally swapped thoughts and talking in like seconds. You're probably dead, Witch Slayer. Yeah, okay.
This Witch Slayer has horrible reactions.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
Why did he use the armor on himself?
But to be fair, that thing doesn't, the red, I don't know the ultimate, the red skill doesn't stop stuns or anything, does it?
No.
Okay, so that was kind of stupid, waste, totally unnecessary, but hey, what you gonna do? But as I was saying, you know, the support getting gold, imagine your supports having, you know, Astrolabe that much sooner, or a Tablet of Command that much sooner, or a, you know, whatever, Void Talisman,
gnomes, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Any item that they, I mean, assuming they're spending the gold correctly. If you're going to be a support and then, you know, you're going to go buy a Rune Cleaver, then I'm going to say give me that freaking gold. But, I mean, if you're going to, you know, go pick Witch Slayer and then you're going to get the right items, then I'm totally fine with you not, you know, leaving the kills for me and all that. I can find a farm just fine on neutrals and creeps as long as I have proper wording up and all that kind of stuff. So, it's just something to think about. The other thing is, again, I mean, Witch Slayer's reaction time was part of that, but then on top of that, they need to have a ward down here, like, I mean, I know you can't see it, Taddy, but, you know, they should have a ward, either a lane ward up here by closer to the tower, so you can see
I know where you're probably signaling. It's between that, there's like 3 different bunches of trees.
Yeah.
Off to
right
the left-hand side of the lane.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
one over here somewhere. Probably one that shows the rune ward, but I mean, this one up here shows the rune ward at the choke here, so it's not totally necessary. Or shows the rune, rather. Monkey King! Monkey King! Oh! Monkey King's not going to get that now. What do we have? Monkey King, Vault's on cooldown. It's just off cooldown now. Oh. Okay. We got a Vault. Okay, cool. So free kill. Get out now. That's too much. You guys are starting to overextend a bit. The other thing is you're just farming bottom. That's fine. In this particular case, the team doesn't need you here to win this team fight or get kills. Just in general...
That Cthulhu's done.
In general, yeah, it was pretty kind of messed up. But in general, you should have a TP on you in case they do need you to show up and do stuff. So that's fine if you want to farm down here. Hard carries can do that. You can farm while your team's getting stuff done. But you need to have a TP so that, and of course you should be paying attention to the team fight, so that if they need it, that Artesia ultimate, oh my god, did you see that? You need to have a TP, so in case they do need you to come, you can be there as soon as possible. Now, of course, if they're fighting at top racks and you don't have a tower in top lane, it's one thing, but, I mean, in this case, when all your towers are still up, it's not acceptable. You should be fine. Charging strikes out, we're totally okay. Slow him with your W. With your W, you can slow him? No? Okay. I mean, if he had kept chasing and hit you with a Q, he might have killed you. Or if he had been in his ultimate form and gotten the double stun off at the beginning,
hang on, man.
He might have. But in general, you need a TP, so think about that. Farming, totally fine to get these camps. Your supports should be stacking them, but that's not your fault, so that's okay. The other thing is...
my little sister was talking to me.
What'd you say?
I said, sorry, my little sister was talking to me.
It's all good. The other thing is you can stack camps as well. I personally wouldn't stick around the jungle and stack and wait for the Minimark to stack like a support would, but if you're past 37... either kill the camp outside of the camp, and every camp has a little range where the creeps will pull out far enough that you can kill them without blocking the next creep spawn, but they will still be, they won't, leash back to the camp. So you can kill them outside of the camp or wait till the mark and kill them. As a carry, I always just kill them outside of the camp because you don't want to waste time, but it's not a huge deal either way, especially once you get the Rune Cleaver and it'll go a bit faster. Okay, so we're just about 130 gold from our Rune Cleaver. Okay, that's an okay time, Drew. So we're probably gonna have it like 18.
With Ghost Marchers, that's all.
It's okay. We're gonna have it like 18 and a half, 19 minutes probably.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Usually a good timed Rune Cleaver is somewhere around 15, give or take. So lately I've been having kind of a scout fetish. You can ask people who've played with me. It's funny. I've probably played 15 games out of my 20 games in the past couple days with Scout. And actually I've won quite a bit of them, just so we're on the same page. But I play Scout, and probably, I don't know, 9 times out of 10 that I play Scout, I will have a Rune Cleaver by 17, 18 minutes at the latest, because you need to get that early enough. I mean, well, I guess you don't need to, but that's the ideal time to get a Rune Cleaver is pre-18, pre-17 usually, so that you can obviously utilize the farm to exponentially increase your farm.
I mean, if you see the carry player from my clan, Sergio, if you see him play, he's ridiculous. Like, he gets 11-minute Rune Cleavers and stuff. Like,
yeah, that's a really good Rune Cleaver. To get an 11-minute Rune Cleaver, though, you need, like, absolute free farm, and you might even need a kill in the lane. I'm not sure if you can... You could probably get a Rune Cleaver if you got every last hit for the first 11 minutes, would be my guess. Well, I don't know if you'd have to skip boots or not. I guess we could talk to him. But in general, very nice. See, now that we have the Rune Cleaver, we're just dominating waves now. Again, totally fine, as long as you're keeping an eye on mid, and you need to have a TP. You still have no TP. So if you're keeping an eye on mid, you're fine to continue farming these lanes separately. Oh, Cthulhu Fonz. That was a poor choice, man. You shouldn't have used your ultimate. That's okay, I guess. Did we finally buy a TP? No. Okay, so no. We got the hungry spirit towards our...
Really need to buy a TP, man.
Yeah,
at the moment, the fact that you're winning is down to the fact that they suck at ganking and Monkey King is carrying you in the mid game. You're not doing anything except farming, really, and you're not even farming amazingly fast. Like, it's decent, it's okay, you're securing the late game, but at the moment you are literally just getting carried. Like, you need to start carrying a TP just so you can be there if your team needs you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's one thing if your team doesn't need you in the fight. You need to, pay attention to the fight, and if you notice they're going to win the fight without you, then keep farming. Don't waste your time to go help them just because you want to, quote-unquote, be a team player. No, if they don't need the help, they don't need the help. But you need to have the... And, oh, actually, you did get a TP finally.
Screwed.
You need to have the TP. Did you just ult those two? Yeah, you did. If he's locked down with a Panda ultimate, your ultimate does nothing. They can see him, obviously. So, I mean, just something to think about. And the cooldown, I've said it in the past, we did one other video with Dark Lady. It's not crazy long that you need to be very cautious when using it, but it's long enough where you shouldn't throw it if it's going to be useless, So, just something to think about. Like in that situation, he was already locked down with Panda ult, so no reason to use it. He's done. But had you used it before the Panda ult, before the Panda flick, for example, maybe it could have. And I know you were out of range, but it could
Good job killing those outside the spawn, by the way.
Oh, I wasn't even watching, but yeah, sure.
Hopefully you're going to stack this as well.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Okay. I'm a few seconds ahead of you, by the way. I'm going to pause at 24:20.
24:20, you say? Yeah, now.
Okay. So that's fine. You're farming decently. We're back up. Nice. We got the Hungry Spirit. I would have said that you definitely wanted to have a Shrunken Head before your Abyssal Skull, but it's okay, I guess. It'll work out as long as your team's there to back you up in certain circumstances when you need it. But I mean,
actually, judging by the fact that he's not being in team fights, I would disagree with that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in a normal game, you would want to be in team fights, so.
Nice kill still.
How did you even get that kill? Oh, did you use your W? Oh my god.
W.
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
That's okay. I mean, apparently he has the thought process that the carry needs the gold. That's okay, I guess.
Well, not only that, but you know, it's better that even if you were just going to get an assist, which I guess you're probably trying to do. You literally just ran up and threw it as soon as you could. So
that's okay. The
more people that get assists for the kill, the better. So people that complain about kill stealing, if it's someone that's late to the fight and their skill happens to steal the kill, then I don't really have a problem with it because it's more gold for the team spread out.
I do want to say one thing real quick. That was probably, like, and I don't want to be a jerk when I say this, but that was really bad courier micro. You literally, it's one thing to, attempt to micro the courier, that's fine, practice makes perfect, everybody needs to do it. But you didn't, like, go to a creep camp and kill them while you were doing it, you just, like, sat in lane, like AFK for, like, 15 seconds while you were trying to micro the courier. I know, it took me a bit to learn how to micro the courier, that's fine. Just next time, go, A-move your character, like, into a creep camp or something while you're doing it, so you're at least not just wasting time, you know what I mean? Just something to think about. It's not a huge deal, but... and the other thing, you ported top. I believe they got the tower. Yeah, they did. So the port top was a bit late, and that was probably because you were, AFKing again. You were just, like, microing the courier trying to. That's okay. It's not a huge deal, but could have been avoided, so just something to think about. Cthulhu font with the light.
Well played by Cthulhu font.
Yeah. By the way. Cthulhu font's items, interesting. We'll talk about them at the end, though, I guess. So we do get that Abyssal Skull completed, totally fine. We're farming nice now. Nice. Monkey King got that Soul's Bulwark. I love you, Monkey King. He's got it on negative, too. I love you twice now.
Thank you for not going Shroud first item.
Yeah. God. Diminished Shaman and Witch Slayer are kind of falling a bit behind. What are their GPM? Well, Diminished Shaman not as far behind as I thought he was, I guess. Oh, it's because he went Steam Boots instead of Striders. What is he going for? What's that? What? I don't understand. Why did he get the Major Totem? I'm confused now.
Gnomes.
Yeah, I know, but he, like, got the Major Totem and then decided he wanted to get a Ring of Sorcery. I don't know.
I don't know.
Bit odd, but it's okay. Alright, so we have...
I think he probably just decided that he needed more mana.
Maybe. The stats are never a bad thing, I guess. It's fine. Okay, we have our Warhammer. Is that what it's called? Batterhammer? Warhammer. We have our Warhammer. Totally fine to kill this Ancients. I'm not sure if you were paying attention, but we're pre-37. As long as you kill him pre-37 in the camp will still respawn at the next minute, so it's totally okay. This is a fight we want. Dark Lady Ultimate's up. Use the Dark Lady Ultimate. There you go. Very nice job. Nice ultimate. You got all three of them. I'm not sure the slow was totally necessary on Gemini, but that's okay. Ensuring the kill is always... That's fine. I mean, there are certain cases where some things are super overkill, and it's just stupid to that point, but this wasn't one of those cases, so... That's fine. I just want to make a comment. Witch Slayer, I like this ward. People a lot of the time don't use this on the Legion team, and you shouldn't use this on the Hellbourne team, because it actually blocks this creep camp spawn for the Hellbourne team's jungle, so... I don't know. I'm not sure if he actually thought about that when he was doing it, but... whoa, diving on Solomon. So, that's probably the worst person to dive on, but... I mean, you guys are pretty far ahead at this point, so I guess it's not a huge problem. Just, I mean, in general, that's literally the worst person on their team you could have tried to initiate onto. And I know it wasn't you, just saying, for the Legion team in general. So, what do you say? We're still sitting on this shield. You can sell the shield and get the, what's that called, the mighty something? Mighty axe or whatever.
Mighty blade.
Mighty blade, that's what it is. You can sell. I mean, it's not a big deal, I guess. You're gonna have the shrunken soon enough, and you'll just have them all sent over. But at this point, the shield is useless, essentially. I mean, you don't need it to farm. No, you don't need it to farm anymore. And really, against people, it's kind of it doesn't matter anymore. But I mean, it's not a big deal either way. So where are we? We're bottom. Okay, that's fine. Well, you know what? Actually, in this case, I would say it's not fine. In a normal game, it's not fine. Maybe in this game, it's okay because you guys are so far ahead. But you don't want to leave your team to 4v5 and bid like that. I don't know. If you had your ultimate up, I could see maybe doing it, because Dark Lady's ultimate has a really big range. I bet actually from lane to lane, like that close, you might even be able to use it. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact, you know, what is it, 2,500 range, so...
I don't think you quite be able to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a few steps and you could get there. Again, you're leaving your team... See, this is what I'm saying, like, if you're this far away, you're leaving your team to fight a 4v5, essentially. You were too far, you were farming the Ancients. And, I mean, I would say they shouldn't have been pushing at that point anyways, with all 5 of them up, but... I mean, you know, there are times when your team does stupid things and you need to go along with it, because if you don't, you're going to throw the game, you know what I mean? So, I normally would not agree with it.
Whoa!
Nice grab in the haste rune. That's actually good, because, turning around...
Slayer stun hit 4 people. Don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't. I must be, like, way ahead of you now, by the way.
Yeah, I skipped forward a little bit. I'm at 30, 15, 16, 17.
Alright, I'm at 26, paused.
Alright, I'll let you know when I get there. I don't know why this keeps happening. Go.
Okay. I don't know why either, but it's kind of frustrating. If only my theory, my little plan had worked. These camps, these are kind of... People leaving one creep, one of the little baby creeps in. That's kind of stupid. Okay, so just a side note, since there's not much to talk about for you specifically, you're farming now. That's totally fine. That's what you should be doing. Keep in mind, you're probably going to hit the 37 threshold. Oh, no, actually, because you got the Shrunken. Okay, you killed him before 37. Good job. Just a warding situation for the Legion team. This is too much wards for... Like, once, like, your wards are starting to, like, overlap, kind of, because they're so close. So what I would have done at this point... you can have one ward at the center of the jungle here, the entrance point there, and you can have one on this cliff here. You no longer need one here. I'm not sure if this one got replaced or not, but if when it dies, please don't replace this. And you don't need one at the Ancients anymore, probably. I would say because you have these two in their jungle, it's not necessary to have one here because you'll probably see them coming anyways.
Yeah, I'd rather see that one that's at the Ancients more like in mid.
I would like to see it somewhere down by Kongor at this point. I mean, what you could do is, I know you can't see me again, but you can, you know, have one like right here somewhere on this cliff, and this cliff will show you part of the Kongor as well as part of mid, and it's actually a really nice place to have. And yep, there go your wards being useful again. You know, this is probably game over right here. We got 2, maybe 3. No, this is kind of a risky dive now. Yeah, back off. That's fine. Cthulhu Font. His balls are way too big for his pants, man. Whew. Again, going on Solomon. He loves killing Solomon. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, so at this point... Okay, the Dark Lady ultimate, a little bit late. That's okay. It's not a huge deal. But it's just... That was a bit late. I mean... I don't know. It'll be okay either way, I guess. I probably wouldn't even have used the ultimate. It wasn't really necessary. But that's okay. Usually the ultimate isn't used when you're chasing people. I mean, I know it does it slow and it blinds them, but it's mostly... for like when they're initiating onto you guys or something like that.
Yeah, if they're running away, then they know where they're going. They're going back to base.
Yeah, so I mean, it's in that particular case, it's not a huge thing. Killing the Artesia ultimate, that's fine. The Artesia ultimate was actually out of range of the fight. She placed it wrong again. So in that case, just leave the ultimate and move on and go kill somebody. But I mean, it's not a huge deal either way. You know, maybe they would have fallen back to that ultimate, and then you guys wouldn't have been able to chase or something. Holy crap, Monkey King. He does not give a single shit. Not one fuck was given by him. We got that Shrunken. Nice. What are we farming GPM-wise? 450. Yeah. Good GPM.
Stop chasing the heroes and kill the racks.
I mean,
I see this so much. Like, people will go and attack the base, and they'll get a couple of kills, and then the enemy team will come close enough to maybe give them an opportunity to kill them. And look, you spent so long killing enemy heroes and chasing enemy heroes. You didn't even get the tower below half HP.
No.
In that whole time. What was the point in that entire exercise?
What I will say is when you get to this point in the game, I'm not sure if they thought about this, but a lot of the time I'll just go for heroes because I know there's literally no way that I would lose this game at this point if I was the Dark Lady, for example. And so I would just have fun with it. But yeah, I mean, in general, you want to ensure your victory rather than giving them the potential chance for coming back, you know. So, but I mean, I see it to an extent. Let's see. Okay, so our wards are dying out now. Witch Slayer, Demented. Do we have any more? No. Monkey King got Demonic. It's kind of weird for your first completed item, but I mean,
gotta say, if you going back to the point about not letting people recover, I mean, you remember that Cthulhu Font and Zephyr game, dude. Even the smallest opportunity.
Yeah, but they weren't really like
back.
crazy. I mean, it was still early game, so even the towers were still doing damage to them in that game. So like that was kind of their own fault. He has a DD. Don't fight him. Good choice. Okay. Just in general, I mean, you might have even been able to beat him even with the DD, but no reason to take the risk really. So just something to think about. Let's see. What are we sitting at for our next time? Okay, so it looks like I'm assuming that Slayer that you just bought was for a Savage Mace and not a
Doombringer.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't a Doombringer, but I guess we won't see because I don't even think he picked.
You know what? I wouldn't even have that much of a problem with him getting a Doombringer. I honestly
how many deaths
wouldn't.
does he have?
Like
0 deaths. You know what? Actually,
he's not dying. He's still got 9 seconds shrunken.
in this,
You know what? Just get. I really hope. I would love it if he actually got the Doombringer.
he doesn't even. No, the game they concede in
is.
the next minute, so he doesn't even get to complete whatever it is. But I will say that yeah, it would be okay to get a Doombringer, but I mean it's the same like concept again. Like you should not do something like potentially stupid just because you're so far ahead. That item is really just like it's a troll item. It's like a I'm winning and I'm gonna just rub it in your face kind of item. Really,
it's not just a troll item. Sometimes it is a last resort. Maybe we can still win this.
Yeah,
item,
on occasion you
which,
could. I mean,
which can actually turn it around. I remember watching a game a long time ago. I think it was MSI or something, where they got 2 Doombringers on Flint and turned it around from like I think they had like
really?
2 sides down and getting raped.
So, okay, so again, by the way, sorry for losing our train of thought there. Again, you focus the Artesia ultimate. It's even when the fight is going on around the ultimate usually doesn't take priority over heroes.
Yeah.
I mean, especially think about it. If you kill Artesia, the ultimate's gone. So, if you had just focused her, then you would be essentially doing the same thing. So
yeah, and you can kill her in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, and you actually did kill her right after that anyways. But just a side note on the Doombringer thing, I saw a game a long time ago where MSI played Gladiator and they got a Doombringer on it. Oh my god, that's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. The whip and just hitting, 1,500 crit or something and just killing like 3 of their heroes in 1 hit. Oh, best time of my life. That was back before the Genjuro though, so he had to do it once and then wait for the Shroud. Unfortunate, but
I love seeing that. Like double Rift Shards, Doombringer, and
yeah.
Genjuro. Just
But so back to your game. So quickly summarizes. First of all, it took you way too long to buy a TP. You should have had a TP probably 12 minutes, 15 at the latest, something like that. As soon as the team fights start happening, you need to have a TP. Okay. Before that, the supports should probably have TPs in case the people tower dive, but you don't really need to have a TP prior to that because you shouldn't really be porting to defend heroes. I mean, there's a gray area there, but I mean in general the carry doesn't usually port when people start diving and stuff. But so TP earlier, you waited too long. I think it was like 19 minutes you got your first TP or something like that. 20 minutes. I think it was after you got the cleaver. I remember that. So that was too long. You need it before that. The other thing, the order of your items. I love your items. They're fine. Rune Cleaver, Abyssal Skull, Shrunken Head, Ghost Marcher's fine. Assuming Savage Mace is even fine too. I probably would have gone with something different than the Savage, but that's fine too.
Probably gone Frostburn, but yeah.
Yeah, I probably would have gone Frostburn, or even just a full-out Frost Wolf. You could do that too, and that would be fine. Because I mean, a lot. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Abyssal doesn't take your attack modifier up, so you can get an attack modifier, and pretty much every case, and I did actually make a video, a little HoN tips about this a while ago. There are a couple cases where a carry doesn't need an attack modifier, but most of the hard carries, if not all of them, do want an attack modifier of some type. So, just something to think about. Or even, even if you wanted to get a shield breaker as your attack modifier, that would even be okay, although I certainly like the Frostburn a little bit better. But, so, your items are fine. They're not wrong. The order was a bit odd in the sense that you got the Abyssal before the Shrunken. In a normal game, usually Shrunken is your go-to second item if you're going to get a Shrunken, because you kind of want it as early as possible to an extent. But I mean, usually you get the Rune Cleaver first so that you can A, farm, and B, put out a little bit of damage, because even if you can stay alive, if you can't put in any damage, nobody cares, you're still useless. So that's usually the go-to. In this game, it was okay because A, you weren't really participating too much in the team fights when you got the Abyssal, and then on top of that, your team has a fair amount of crowd control, and assuming Demented Shaman was paying attention with all of his abilities as well as items, he could have kept you alive anyways, so it's not a huge deal. The only other thing I would have liked to see is, we talked about it in the game, you didn't get a Mystic Vestments at some point. Artesia is really enough magic damage that you want a Mystic Vestments. Now, I will give you that she didn't really do all that well, and she was the lowest level in the game, but I don't know. It's still, especially if you were going to delay the Shrunken, I think it would have been a worthwhile investment. Other than that, your creep score early on was a bit iffy, mostly just because you were playing against a fairly aggressive lane, and you couldn't really get them. But, I mean, once you got the Cleaver, you started to come back a bit. That was fine. You didn't really miss too many last hits just because of missing them, so that's good. You've pretty much got that down for the most part. The only other real comment to have on your play is, two more comments, I guess. One, there was that time where you used the ultimate on Panda and Solomon, which was totally unnecessary, so just kind of think about why you're using the ultimate for future reference, like, is it actually going to help them? Is it actually useful? Not really in that case. And then again, actually, at the end, when they were all running away, again, even though it does apply a tiny movement speed slow, it's really not all that useful, all things considered, So, just that, and then the only other thing is the micro sense. I mean, I know microing the courier it's not the easiest thing, but, next time, I know, while you're practicing microing, just go ahead and move your hero into a creep camp, to at least, not waste time while you're doing it. So, any other comments you want to make on his gameplay?
To be honest, just apart from minor things like getting better at last hitting, getting better at team fight positioning, it wasn't that bad. Focus the correct targets.
Yeah, that too, actually. I missed that, but at least twice, you went after the Artesia ultimate. And actually, by the way, you went after the Artesia ultimate after you already had a Shrunken head, so it wouldn't even hurt you anyways. But if you kill Artesia, it kills her ultimate. So
target prioritizing and carrying a TP. Those are the only important things that you had problems with in that game. Other than that, it's just minor things. I mean, you could have had a lot better farm than you did, considering you were basically free farming. If you'd have had your supports stacking for you, or you'd have done a little bit more stacking yourself, or if you hadn't missed creep kills here and there. And it's little things like that where if they had a carry that was in a similar situation and they were farming better than you, then that would have been a real problem. And there's no reason that you shouldn't be getting absolutely maximum farm, so work on that.
Mm-hmm. The only other thing other than that I wanted to mention is that there's a fine line between AFK farming and being a part of the team. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I join a game, and there's a hard carry who's like, we get to the laning phase, and then we start the team fights, and he just, AFK farms for 40 minutes, and, doesn't carry TP, doesn't come to team fights ever, and he just, he's like, no, I gotta get my items, guys, so I can carry us late game, okay? There is a very fine line between just AFK farming and being a part of a team. You can farm and still be helpful early on in the game when needed, okay? That's a big difference between, mediocre carries and phenomenal carries. And if you watch any professional team, pretty much their carries, they don't just AFK farm. They have TPs and they show up at team fights when they're needed to assist the team. What I will say is there are some hard carries that really can't do much of anything early on, but they can still do something. And just having another player there, a lot of the time, is enough to scare off enemy teams or cause confusion or things like that. So,
yeah. I mean, what you were saying is true about the guy that's just farming. I mean, it's the guy that's going to finish 2-0-3 with 560 gold per minute and be like, my team lost it for me, look at my pro score. And it's like, no, mate, you weren't there for anything. It's
just something to think about. I mean, it's one of those things you need to kind of, it comes down to decision making, like where do I need to be, and if I need to be farming, which a lot of the time you should be farming a lane or a jungle or whatever, but you need to have a TP so that you can
Yeah.
show up at team fights when needed, okay? So,
I mean, think of it this way: you're playing 4v5, and not only that, but almost all of the team's gold is being piled onto you, the hard carry.
yeah.
So they're playing 4v5 without the person on their team who has been taking most of the farm,
hmm
and it's going to put them at a huge disadvantage. So you need to carry TP just to be there if needed.
Yeah.
Obviously, you didn't need it in that game, but that's just coincidental that they were winning the team fights, and you should have had a TP on you anyway, just in case they started losing the team fights, or you wanted to TP in to swing the balance.
hmm Yeah. So, I mean, that pretty much covers you. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. I think we covered most of it. You're not a bad player. It just comes down to a little bit of decision making and some few fine tuning here and there. Let's go ahead. Quick summary for creep kills and GPMs for everybody. Creep kills. So Cthulhu font, that's okay, I guess. Considering the lane you were in, you should have had more than that.
It was very active as well.
Yeah, you do. You have a lot of assists, a fair amount of kills. All things considered, you did pretty well. I will say, your balls are immensely huge, man. You were kind of going balls to the wall, just diving a lot. I don't know if that's because you knew you were so far ahead, or if just because you're like YOLO, I don't give a fuck. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Let's see, Demanded Shaman. I guess that's a fine creep score for, a 30-minute game. It's okay. A little bit more than that would usually be, especially on Demanded, you can, kill a creep wave pretty quick with the wave. Maybe like 50 would have been nice to have. Witch Slayer, that's way too low. 5? I mean, I get that you were letting your Dark Lady farm, that's fine, but then, there are times where you can get creep kills here and there to add up, and, I mean, take Demanded Shaman, for example, that's what he did, so I assume he wasn't stealing them from Cthulhu Fawn. I actually wasn't watching, but, that's... those are one of the things that make a good support player, the ability to, utilize the small bits of farm you get here and there. So just that's too low. I wasn't paying attention to the areas where you were wasting time, but I can guarantee you were wasting time with a creep score that low. Gemini, that's okay, I guess. That's
you
a
missed
decent
Monkey
score.
King, by the way.
I missed Monkey King. You are correct.
Yes.
Monkey King. That's kind of low considering you were mid. Who went mid against him, by the way? Was it Gemini?
Yeah, but
Okay,
he was extremely active. He was 12, 5, and 14.
Yeah,
so.
so you were extremely active to make up for it, but I think, I don't know, I would say you should have had more than that, but considering how active you were, it's an okay score to have. It's not...
He carried the mid game just with
Yeah.
him running around killing heroes, so to be honest, I have no problem with
Yeah.
having a lowish creep score.
It's not bad, let's put it that way. I mean, it's at the very least okay. I wouldn't necessarily say it's great or good, but it's certainly decent. Considering how you were doing in team fights and stuff like that. In a normal game, and actually I didn't even notice, by the way, but the other 4 on his team were a pre-made. I'm not sure if they were all pre-mades or not, actually.
Yeah.
But, they might have been, actually. But the other 4, I'm assuming they're pre-made since they're in the same clan. That would be a little bit odd if they were coincidentally that lucky.
It happens.
Gemini, or maybe they all made a clan after this game. Maybe they're like, we're so awesome, let's make a clan. Gemini, I already talked about you. That's a fine creep score. I mean, I mean, you didn't get any items that would make your farm really well, like Dark Lady's Rune Cleaver, so that's fine to have. Master of Arms, that's fine, all things considered. I mean, you played support. Yeah, you played support a bit early on. It looks like you were mid-transitioning out. I'm not sure if that was going to be a Hellflower you were making.
Shroud.
Well, yeah,
Shroud.
but he got the Scarab, though.
Yeah, but you got it quite early.
Okay, I guess you just bought the Scarab for mana regen, and then you went. I don't know. You usually wouldn't buy a Scarab just for mana regen, but that's okay, I guess. So yeah, then you were going Shroud, kind of a weird item, but I guess it's not terrible. Could be worse. The Energizer, love the Energizer. The boots, I probably would have gone Ghost Marchers, but that's okay, I guess.
I like Steam Boots, especially if you're getting an Energizer.
Yeah, sure. Steam Boots are fine. Panda. So the Nullstone first is fine. Your boots are fine. You always get Ghost Marchers on Panda because mobility's awesome sauce. But then on top of that, Panda's abilities all scale with the more physical damage you have. So you always get Ghost Marchers on Panda. There's very little argument could even be made for Steam Boots over them. But so always get those. The Nullstone's actually fine considering they have a Witch Slayer, Monkey King, heroes that need to hit their single targets to kill you. That's fine.
It's also a good farming item, and he needs the mana regen.
Yeah. And then it looks like you're going for an Insanitarius. That's also fine on Panda. I like Insanitarius on Panda. And
I would prefer to see a Souls since no one else was getting it, but Insanitarius is a good item on him.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I'll talk about it in a sec. I would actually have liked to see a Souls on Solomon. He should have been the one to get it, but yeah, Souls would have been nice too. The thing is, your creep score is pretty low considering you got a hatchet. So I understand the lane kind of didn't work out the way the lane you guys were planning on doing well in. I'm assuming kind of didn't really work out, and I don't know. It's okay, I guess. It's not 100% terrible, but you know, it should be better. Let's say that, to say the least. Solomon, considering the hero you are, I think that's a decent creep score. I will say you got a hatchet, which would imply you're going to be farming a bit, but it's okay, I guess. It's an okay creep score for your role. And then Artesia, that's kind of low. I'm assuming you were babysitting Solomon top. That's okay, but same thing with Witch Slayer. I mean, I guarantee there were times where you could have gotten a few creep kills, you know, maybe killed a yellow camp on your way through the jungle, or, you know, something here and there. What I will say is that a lot of supports don't do it. The yellow camp is practically no gold, but it's not no gold to the supports. It's no gold relatively to the carry, okay? So, I mean, I think it's approximately 70, 75 gold, give or take, from the carry is not a huge setback. So even if your carry's going through the jungle and you want to take those yellows, you need them for, you know, to buy another ward or to get your next item, feel free. It's really not a big deal if you take the yellows from them, okay, guys? So
if you stack that and quickly take it, you've just got enough for another TP.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're freaking out about it, just ignore them because they're dumb and don't know how to play the game. So it's not wrong to take the yellows from them. The yellows is literally, to a carry, it's relatively nothing. To a support, it's a lot, though. So, I mean, it's the same thing with the kills thing, you know? It's not a big deal if you get them. So, I mean, it is a big deal if you're literally following them around and just taking their farm like an asshole, but, you know, if you're taking small amounts here and there, it's not a big deal. What I will say is that you were buying wards, so that's a good job. You got a Blood Chalice, which I don't really agree with, considering you were kind of playing the support role. I probably would have gone something different instead. I know you want mana regen and all that, but, I mean, you could have gone for a Ring of Sorcery. With the amount you spent on the Blood Chalice, you could have gotten a Talisman of the Exile, to say the least. So, I mean, you know, it started working towards an item, you know, a Grave Locket, whatever the case may be. Grave Locket's awesome on any intelligence support, and even on some non-intelligence supports is still awesome, but, you know, it's an awesome item. I do like the vestments, though, although we're not on items, so I'm not sure why I'm talking about everybody's items, but, so that's creep kills, bleh. We'll go through the items briefly. So, Cthulhu Font, your boots, I like strength boots, steam boots on him more, but that's fine. I don't think there's really anything wrong with those.
To be honest, Plated Greaves, steam boots, or Ghost Marchers are all fine on Cthulhu Font.
Yeah.
Depends on your opinion and who you're against and whatever.
And I like the power supply too. The problem is that you got that power supply really late. Like, I mean, I don't remember the exact time you got it, but I saw the mana battery at like 20 minutes or something like that. So it's kind of an odd choice to get it that late. Usually a power supply is an item you would complete, you know, sometime within pre-10, 15 at the latest, something like that. Just something to think about. It's not a huge deal either way. The helm, awesome. The vestments, awesome. TP, awesome. So the Frozen Light, though, I'm not a huge Cthulhu Font player, but that just doesn't seem like an item you would get on a tanky hero like that. What I will say is that
kind of makes sense.
It's I don't know. It's not a terrible item. I think you could have gotten worse, but what I would have liked to see is that Monkey King get like a shield breaker instead, and then you could have gone Soul's Bulwark, and then into something else. You know, maybe you guys don't even have a hero that needs a portal key. You could have gotten a portal key. Portal key trample works out fine. It's certainly not, you know, the most ideal, you know, case for a portal key, but it's not terrible. You could have gotten a portal key and it would have worked out great. I don't know. It's a little odd. I don't think it's wrong. I'm not a Cthulhu Font expert, so I can't really tell you it's wrong. But it just doesn't seem like the item you would get on like a tanky initiator hero like that. So I probably would have gotten Souls instead. But considering he had Souls, I would have gone something else. You know, you could have gone any number of items. You could have gone for a Frostfield Plate. You could have gotten a Behemoth's Heart if you wanted. You could have gotten assuming their carries were doing well, which they actually weren't in this game, but in a normal game, you could have gotten like a Barbed Armor or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Demented Shaman. We already talked about Dark Lady, so I'm going to skip him. Demented Shaman. I love every bit of your items. I love that you started with the Ring of the Guardian, by the way, too. Love it. I love it all. I don't remember which one of you upgraded the Courier and which one of you was buying wards, but I know you had a ward on you, so I'm going to assume you were buying wards. Usually you would buy 2 wards as the support that's going to buy wards at the start, just so you know. But, I mean, it really isn't a huge deal, just that you kind of gimped your mid on the first rune and on the second rune. Actually, he guessed right on the second rune, but I wasn't watching for the first rune. Maybe he guessed right on that one, too. But
I wasn't watching either.
Yeah, but, I mean, at least on the first rune, you gimped him in the sense that he doesn't know where it is, so he doesn't even really have a fair chance at fighting for it. So it's kind of just unfortunate, but other than that, your items are fine. I would have gone Striders over Steam Boots, but that's okay to get Steam Boots too. Your GPM was decent. I don't know if it was decent all game or not, but that's fine to get.
It's one of those things. If you're doing well at the start of the game, then you can.
Yeah,
you can
it's yeah, exactly. It's like gold to supports. Supports their item of choice is Steam Boots, but they usually are forced to get Striders because they don't have the amount of gold they need. Monkey King, I loved your items all the way up to the point where you got the Soul's Bulwark. I love your boots, I love your TP, I love the power supply, bottle, vestments, I love the Soul's Bulwark. You didn't need to complete it all the way to a demonic at the start though. Demonic is usually when you're going demonic you would get the souls relatively early and then kind of just get your other items and then come back to it at the end and complete it into a demonic. Because the benefit from souls to demonic isn't really as good as, I mean, I think it costs approximately another $3,000 to, upgrade it to demonic approximately. I don't know the exact price. That $3,000 could have been better spent on a number of other items. I mean, what I would have liked to see is you don't have an attack modifier. I love getting Shield Breaker on Monkey King, especially when I'm doing well, because it's an awesome item to have on Monkey King. I mean, the other thing you could have gone is you could have gone Shrunken Head. They have a lot of magic damage and stuns. That's fine. You could have gone a number of things. I mean, again, Barbed Armor if they were doing good, although on Monkey King it's a bit less. You could have gotten,
Nullstone, Hellflower.
Nullstone would have been fine. Hellflower would have been great, actually. I was kind of having a brain fart there, but Hellflower would have been great to pick up. That would have been an awesome item. And actually, with the $3,000 you spent, approximately, on the Demonic Breastplate, you could have had 2/3 of the Hellflower already completed. So, just in general, it's just kind of weird to complete Demonic as your first major item. Souls as a first item is awesome. That's fine on a number of heroes, not just Monkey King, but to complete it is a little bit weird. Witch Slayer, I love all your items. I'm assuming the Neophytes book was for maybe a Storm Spirit, or is that? I think that builds into Tablet of Command.
Tablet, yeah. It's probably going to be a tablet.
So either of those would have been totally fine. So other than that, I love the power supply, I love the vestments, TP, Striders, Astrolabe, I love it all. It's totally great, man. Although we did mention a bit that your reaction time was a bit lacking there throughout the whole game, really. It's just kind of iffy.
That's a play thing rather than an item thing. We're not really focusing on him anyway. So just
yeah, of course. I
like Gemini's items.
Yeah,
no problem with them whatsoever.
Yeah, the only thing I would have to say is that well, no, I mean I'm not a Gemini player, so I wouldn't totally know. But I don't think the Nullfire would really be necessary on that hero because...
Dude, Nullfire purges, charging strikes, and Dark Blades.
Yeah, okay, well I can see that. You're... Well, so... Yeah, so that makes sense that you bring it up, but I mean, I don't know if he thought of that, but if that's the reason he bought it, then that's fine. Just in general, though, I would say that's... If they don't have an ability that you want to purge, that would be kind of a weird item, I think, to get on Gemini.
I would have preferred to see it on Mercer, but Mercer wasn't going for it, so that's probably why Gemini got it. I mean, we can give him the benefit of the doubt. He's nearly 1,700.
Alright, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt then. Sure, you thought it through. Good item choice. Fine, man.
If I can think of it and I'm 1,660, he can think of it, and he's 1,680. So.
We briefly touched on Master's items, so I'm going to just briefly summarize it real quick. Boots, totally okay, although I would have liked Ghost Marchers. Energizer, totally okay. And then even if you want to go Shroud, that's kind of a weird item to go, especially considering you were support, because Shroud doesn't give you any stats. So if you're going to support Master and then transfer into carry, which a lot of the time you'll see players do, that's okay. But usually your first item or first 2 items or whatever need to kind of have some stats with them to back you up, since you should probably be behind on farm and levels a little bit, maybe.
See, I'm not a fan of getting Shroud on any hero that the item doesn't synergize with at all. Like, I mean, what can you do? You can do a nice 1.8 second stun, like. Well, you can do that anyway from a distance. I don't know. Well, it doesn't synergize with the hero. He doesn't have any ability that goes.
Well, what I would say is, as I would agree, I don't really like Shroud too much as an item, but I love Genjiros. So
Yeah,
when
but as
you
a last item.
yeah, and you need it to get. And I would certainly agree that it probably shouldn't be your first item or something. I don't mind really getting it as your first item. It's just not necessarily the best choice. But and I'm glad they actually changed it so that you could
I get a
upgrade
glass of
Shroud.
water, man.
Because Shroud before was kind of a crappy item, to be honest with you. They gave you the ability to upgrade it into Ganjuros, and Ganjuros is phenomenal. It gives the agility carries what they need. It gives you the agility, the slow, invisibility, which never hurts, and then the bonus damage on top of that. So plus, the stats and that stuff too. So I love the item. I think, again, I would agree that, it's kind of a weird item to get as your first item. But, I mean, what you should have done, like he said, is a Nullifier is usually my go-to first item on Master, unless they don't have anything that I want to purge, really, because then it's kind of less useful to an extent. Well, actually, I guess Energizer is my go-to first, but then Nullifier after that. And then, then you can get Shrunken if you need it. Then you can get, Damage if you need that. You can get, whatever. I mean, you can branch off into a number of things at that point. Panda, your items.
We talked about his item already.
Yeah, your items are fine. We talked about them. It's okay. It's just kind of odd. Solomon. So, Solomon. Okay, so I can tell you right now that's going to be a Dawnbringer.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I talked about it briefly before. You should have gotten a Soul's Bulwark at some point, man. I mean, that's usually...
Should have got some survivability, helm, vestments.
Yeah,
something.
I usually build a helm on Solomon. I've only played him twice now. Twice since he came out. I don't really like the hero all that much. He's kind of weird. But he's just not really my playstyle. Not to say he's necessarily a terrible hero. So I build a helm on him. I think the Ghost Marchers are fine, but you could have gone Steam Boots too. I mean, I see the logic in getting Ghost Marchers, but the hero has a lot of mobility with his movement speed buffing skill already. I'm not sure that Ghost Marchers are really necessary, but it's okay. I'm fine with that too. But then I think you do need to be a bit more tanky. I would have gotten a helm, and I also would not have gotten a Dawnbringer at all. I would have built more tanky. I build the hero in the sense that I think the way the hero is supposed to be played, they give him such innate tankiness. It's like they're asking you to build him as a tank, really. I mean,
yeah.
It's...
And not only that, but I will say, as I've mentioned before, if you're going to get a Dawnbringer, don't get the light brand last unless... just don't get the light brand last. It's a early game mana regen and farming item. There's no point in getting it last to complete it. It makes me want to...
Yeah, the only time you could ever get it last is if you're a hero that builds a Frostburn and leaves it as a Frostburn, and then as your very last item you could get a Frozen Light to complete it off to a Dawnbringer, just to give yourself a little bit more. But the only reason you would get it at that point is if you have all your other item slots filled up, and you have saved money for a buyback, things like that. But I mean, it's just a weird item to build on on Solomon, anyways. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't really synergize very well with the hero, in my thoughts. I guess maybe somebody could argue that it might work okay, give you the movement speed slow and all that so your team can catch up. I don't know. But
honestly, I think that Solomon should be built similar to Electrician. I think he plays very similar to Electrician. And you should just build tank on him at the start, and then you should build utility after you've got your tanky items.
Yeah, although what I will say is that Electrician focuses on utility items that give him quite a bit of mana on top of that because of his shield. They don't necessarily need to be mana items on Solomon. So, I mean, not that Kuldr's Sheepstick is a bad item by any means, but Kuldr's Sheepstick is, an item that maybe you could choose Hellflower over, because you wouldn't get a Hellflower on Electrician, really, because it doesn't give you mana, which is what you want to make yourself more tanky. I mean, you may get it as a later item, but you're certainly not going to get it as one of your first couple items. Whereas on Solomon, you could get a Hellflower, and it would be okay still. Artesia, we talked about your items too. It's just a little odd. Working towards a Grave Locket or a Ring of the Sorcery would have been better than the Blood Chalice, but other than that, it's okay. So, any closing thoughts on the game before we finish up?
Other than what we've already said, man, not really. You kind of got carried in the mid game there.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay though.
You could always play better, even if you go 5-0-12 and you've got 480 GPM, and you think, oh yeah, I did really well that game. There's a lot of things you could have done better, and if their team had been on par with the rest of your team, you would have had a much more difficult game.
Yeah. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. Again, if anybody, including, Dan Swift, but other people as well, have any questions or comments, anything like that, feel free to let us know. I read them all. If it's a question directly, directed towards Taddy, then feel free. I'll pass it along to him. Actually, a little while ago, somebody commented on that game we played, the Queuing Up episode, and they're like, "Oh, he's awesome support player. I should ask him to coach me." And I was like, "Yeah, you should. He'll probably do it."
Oh, well, yeah, I'm happy to do it.
But so yes, so thank you for watching. If you have any more replays, feel free to keep submitting them. We have a bit of a line, but we'll get to them eventually. We always do. And that is it. So thank you guys for watching once again. I believe that's like the 18th time I've said that. I will talk to you guys later. GG, well played, guys. Elfis out.